Vegapunk versus Franky will definitely happen. Well, if it's definitely gonna happen, then I am going to bet 1,000 fine dollary dues on it. I'm completely serious. Here's how it's gonna work. I asked all of you to give me your #1 Franky predictions for Egghead Island. Those have been compiled into a 4x4 bingo, or I suppose Bing card. You know, for all of the bingo purists out there. You know who you are, and so does everyone else, because you never shut up about bingo. And if we complete a row of 4, then I will donate $1,000 to a charity of your choosing. And if we do not complete the card, well, in the terrifying words of Bane, our punishment will be more severe. And when I say our, I mean mine. We'll find out what that is in a bit. But the first event being slapped on the card is Vegapunk versus Franky. Because in addition to Asimov's 3 laws of robotics, Eiichiro Oda decided to add laws 4 through 6 being, all robots must be powered by cola, all robots must wear tight yet revealing and flamboyant speedos, and finally, when 2 robots meet, they must engage in cybernetic punch fighting. Also, just a big warning before we move on. This video could contain accidental spoilers. Because as a collective, the Grand Fleet was ridiculously accurate with predicting the events of 2022 with our previous bingo card. So let's get spoiled, I guess. It's possible that Vegapunk might try to recruit Franky. Sure, recruit and/or acquire. Vegapunk seems like a very Sigma professor and doesn't have a great history with assistants. They either turn out to be gaseous clowns, child-abusing butt-chins, or dinosaurs with sweet AF dance moves. That last one isn't so bad, but I would lean more towards Vegapunk wanting to modify or even reprogram Franky. Or perhaps even scrap him altogether for his juicy cyborg parts. Are cyborg parts juicy? I don't think they are. So if that's what you mean by recruit, then let's bend over this bingo card and give it a mighty slap with Vegapunk recruits Franky. It's around time we get a full-fledged mecha battle in One Piece. You know, the closest thing we've had to a mecha battle in the series was Pirate Docking versus Oars. Admittedly, that was 2 very fleshsome mechs, but Oars was pilotable and Franky is, well, Franky. However, Robin ruined all of that, and we have had to wait decades to get another opportunity. So I agree, we need a mecha battle on Egghead Island, but it may not necessarily be Franky versus Vegapunk. It might be Franky versus some sort of rogue mech like the Shark, or even just 2 completely rogue mechs engaging in fight battling with one another. So let's program mech battle onto the bingo card. Also, this video is sponsored by NordVPN, the easy-to-use one-click connect gateway to over 5,500 servers in 59 different countries. Now, if you don't know what a VPN is, then your data is about as exposed as a cyborg's nuts and bolts. And we all know how that turned out. It was not great. A VPN is a virtual private network which blocks intrusive agents, such as web trackers, malware, and a wide array of online spies, like phishing with a PH, which is significantly worse than the regular F-style phishing because people are trying to acquire your valuable credentials. But also, more things. NordVPN gives you the ability to get around geo-blocking, allowing you to watch all of your favoritist of animes. And all you need to do is open up the map, click a country, let's say Japan, and then bam, Nihon e yokoso minasan. Simply go to nordvpn.com/GrandLineReview to take advantage of the Nord Security Bundle deal, offering a bonus 4 months on top of your plan with a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee. I just realized that rhymes. So go do that thing, but for now it's back to you, me. I feel like Franky will see the true dark side of Vegapunk and make it his goal to finish the good side of Vegapunk's earlier work. I am really interested to see what Franky actually thinks of Vegapunk. Of all of the Straw Hats, I think that Franky is definitely the one most capable of empathy here, and we'll get to why in a bit. But with this, I guess we're looking at a situation similar to Chopper and Hogback, where Chopper met someone that he admired, then realized he wore a fishnet vest and said to himself, well, there's something you don't see particularly often outside of Mardi Gras. However, even then, there is no pride in being associated with Dr. Hogback. And I know that I often call Absalom the absolute shame of Thriller Bark, but let's just take a moment to process this. Hogback dug up the corpse of a woman he was infatuated with and reanimated it into his plate-throwing love slave. And that is like all kinds of messed up, especially literally because of all of the broken plates. I mean, I've gone on a slight tangent there, but essentially we have the idea of Franky being disillusioned by his idol. So that is what we are going to plonk on ye olde card. I would love to see what Vegapunk thinks about creating a weapon isn't a sin thing. Could give Franky a whole new perspective on his defining character moment or trait. Might give him the final push he needs to build the Pluton if that's gonna happen in the future. This is probably the thing that I am the second most excited about. As I said before, Franky is probably able to identify with Vegapunk on a very core level because he also once built weapons that were used for well, less than great purposes. And what specifically comes to mind are Tom's last words to Franky. No matter who gets injured by the ships you build, even if it looks like they'll destroy the world, you're the one who gave them life. You at least have to love them. The one who created them must not deny them. Don't blame the ships, bruh. So Vegapunk has created some of the world's most devastating weapons that have done a lot of kill murder, but is that the fault of the creator? Whatever the decision is, that is what I want to see Franky tackle. And so we are going to tackle our bingo card with a reference to Tom's speech. Assuming Vegapunk turns out to be a chill dude, or at the very least, not an enemy, I think they'll have a nice bonding moment over Wappo Metal, possibly with some included commentary from some of the other Straw Hats because of its origin. So in case you're not aware, Wappo Metal is a substance that was accidentally created by Wapol after he started eating commercial waste that he found on the floor. And as a very fun connection, Franky Shogun is actually composed of Wappo Metal. It's the most versatile substance in One Piece, and I would be very shocked if Vegapunk wasn't using it. But this is a perfect opportunity, so reference to Wappo Metal is getting slapped right down around here. Oh, and also, I completely forgot about this, but you may have noticed like the copious amounts of cola sitting ominously behind me. Basically though, throughout the next arc, every time we complete a prediction, we are going to pop a cola. Like that, but real. That's right, we are going to pop these completely anonymous and not at all distinctive colas. Anyway, what's next? Vegapunk turns out to be just as super as Franky, and they superpose together. Oh, I think that this might be a bit of a left field one. But then again, maybe weird poses are just the sign of engineering genius. Kind of like how One Piece has a common facial expression for running into your natural counter, or even more morbidly, there's also a common face for when your sibling dies, as demonstrated by both Luffy and Law when their brother and sister died respectively. Yes, that's right, One Piece isn't all cyborg speedos and ball grabbing. I mean, sometimes it is. Remember that one time that Robin crushed Franky's balls in public for like no good reason? I mean, God, that was brutal. What was I talking about again? All I can think of is having my balls crushed, and like not in a good way. So it's a very long shot, but Vegapunk and Franky sharing the super pose is on the card. To enhance Franky's arsenal first, I think making Frank's body get an upgrade to Battle Franky 39, while General Franky also gets an upgrade to Battle Franky 40. I'm not so sure about Franky, but Franky Shogun did take a lot of damage against Sasaki, and unless Franky has some spare Wappo Metal on hand to repair it, then Franky Shogun is still probably in a pretty bad state. This would be the optimal time for an upgrade regardless of which Franky we're talking about. So we're just gonna go with new Battle Franky. His bounty poster will play an effect in this arc, I think. Would be good to know what Vegapunk thinks of the Sunny. I imagine a scene where Vegapunk just absolutely insults the ship and Franky gets mad. So that completely skipped over my mind brain, but this arc is almost certainly where that bounty poster pays off, maybe. Perhaps it's even foreshadowing something, like Franky creating a mech out of the Sunny and operating it, thus kind of making his bounty poster true. Either way, we're adding bounty poster payoff. Sunny upgrade. Simple and to the point. I can't express just how much I love comments like this. For future reference, when I put out these community posts, what I'm looking for are pretty like direct one-sentence answers. But when it comes to the Sunny, it may not become an operable mech, but just like Franky, this is a prime opportunity to further our vessel and enhance its abilities to carry Luffy to his final destination. It may even be a bit of a non-consensual upgrade as well. Vegapunk could take it and like tinker with it, add some features, etc. However, or whatever happens, and whoever happens it, we've got ourselves a Sunny upgrade. I'd like a Franky backstory before he was abandoned by pirates, which pirates he was with, and who are his parents. Ooh, this one I'm also not so sure about. I mean, theorizing about Franky's parents and their relevance, like that is super popular, but I just don't know, one, how much Franky cares, and two, how much Oda cares. So I'm going to expand this category a bit into any form of Franky flashback, whether it be to do with his parents, his time on Water 7, or even the time skip stuff. Even then, I think this might be a bit risky, because after Wano, I don't think we should ever assume that Straw Hat backstories will be extensively expanded on. Although Zoro did technically get a flashback, I suppose. It's like really short, but it does exist. So let's load up the card with a Franky flashback. We need a few things from Franky during this arc, but one thing's for sure, he needs a new hairstyle. Yes, finally! This was my very first thought, but surprisingly, almost nobody actually suggested this. Franky right now has his Wano tourist top knot, but I can't see Oda missing an opportunity to plonk a new work of art and or madness on top of our Cola Fiend. I'm feeling very confident about this, so let's lock in new Franky hairstyle. Dr. Vegapunk is going to be super impressed by Franky's nipple lights. For some reason, I feel like this is more likely than the two posing together. Maybe a situation where Vegapunk is mind blown and goes, how have I never thought of that? I'm the greatest genius on the planet thing. How has nipple lights never come to my mind? Let's get real for a second though. Who among Us would not want functional nipple lights if it were an option. I would ideally want RGB ones so they could change the color. But we'll be a bit less specific and just ping nipple lights into the card. Frankie will learn how to give the Sunny a devil fruit or learn how to incorporate devil fruits into his technology. So there's a bit of a fun idea going around right now that either Frankie or Vegapunk will bring the Thousand Sunny to life by giving it a devil fruit, which I think is about as out there as a Scotsman's meat and potatoes on a crisp winter morning on the moors. But I do think the potential of seeing a new devil fruit object is quite high. So that's what we're going to instone into the bingo card. Frankie needs to blow up Vegapunk's actual laboratory. There's no reason besides it being a funny callback. That is one of the defining Frankie moments to me. Accidentally blowing himself up, it is just a superb cyborgian maneuver. But Vegapunk's labs also have this very unfortunate tendency to explode. Frankie blew up Vegapunk's baby lab on Karakuri Island, then Caesar Clown blew up some of his labs on Punk Hazard, and then Doflamingo blew up the remaining labs. At the moment, only Vegapunk's secret lab on Karakuri Island remains intact to the best of our knowledge, which, to put that into some sort of statistical relevance, is a 75% explosion rate, which I would say is uncomfortably high in any scenario that is not Cyborg Pirate Bingo. But here it happens to be just comfortable enough to confidently add to the card. Him and Vegapunk need to build a super awesome machine for the Straw Hats. I mean, maybe not necessarily for the Straw Hats, but I do like the idea of a Vegapunk Frankie collab, but that could just be the YouTuber instinct within me. Either way, it's now on the card. Now, before I reveal our final prediction, I should probably let you know what happens if we fail to hit a bingo or even a bing. If we succeed in hitting 4 in a row, I will donate $1,000 to charity. However, if we fail to complete a single row, column, or diagonal, then that amount doubles. So this is definitely the highest stakes version of Cyborg Pirate Bingo that I have ever played. But I guess the idea is that even if we lose, someone else wins, and then everything happiness. I don't know. I don't have anything more than that. That's not true. I have one more thing, and we're going to finish our card with He Will Find Love, like Zoro in Wano and Sanji in Whole Cake. Now here's the thing. This sounds ridiculous, but I really kind of buy it. For the last few arcs, Oda has been casually setting up some future pairings in this world. Partners to perhaps settle down with once all of the adventuring and punch fighting is concluded. As mentioned, Zoro has a home in the arms and likely between the legs of Hiyori. Sanji has a mutual romance with both of his loves, being food and women, through the rather appropriately named Pudding. And even Chopper has a long-distance relationship with a reindeer nurse named Milky. So why can't Frankie find himself a nice cyborgette to have a bit of a weird mechanical flirt with? I should say that Frankie was once propositioned by Lola on Thriller Bark, as was everyone, but he somewhat politely declined her by saying, and I quote, "You're a gem, but I'm afraid I'm just too super." The one thing you can never accuse Frankie of is a lack of self-esteem. But Frankie love interest is going to complete our Cyborg Pirate Egghead Island things that may or may not be done bingo card. And now here's another video to fill your time on public transport, so I look forward to seeing you there.